Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next hour. Snow and ice wreak New Year travel plans across the Atlantic as the US and Europe hit by weather vagaries. 60 million under weather alert in the US, flights hit by massive winter storm. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken wades into South Korea crisis to encourage policy stability in Seoul to hold talks on the day when Yoon's arrest warrant expires. Hamas and Israel trade charges on hostage release. Hamas says it's ready to free 34 hostages in the first phase of a potential deal. Israel says Hamas yet to provide any names. A billion Indian hearts beat for Payal Kapadia's All We Imagine Is Light as the 82nd Golden Globes gets underway in Beverly Hills. Musical thriller Emilia Perez leads the pack with 10 nominations. And in sports, Amad Diallo goal earns draw as Manchester United holds leaders Liverpool in the Premier League. On to West Asia first. Israel and Hamas argued on Sunday over the details of an agreement to halt fighting in the conflict-ravaged territory and bring hostages home. Hamas said it has approved a list of 34 Israeli hostages to be exchanged in a possible ceasefire deal. The office of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, however, has put out a statement saying, contrary to what was claimed, Hamas has yet to provide a list of hostages. This comes just days after indirect negotiations for a ceasefire for hostages deal resumed in Doha, talks that have so far shown few signs of progress. On Saturday, Hamas turned up the pressure on Israel at the negotiating table, releasing a video of 19-year-old hostage Liri al-Bag. A renewed push is underway to reach a ceasefire in the 15-month conflict before US President-elect Donald Trump takes office on January 20th. Israeli negotiators were dispatched on Friday to resume talks in Doha, brokered by Qatari and Egyptian mediators, and US President Joe Biden's administration, which is helping to mediate, has urged Hamas to agree to a deal. Updates on South Korea's political crisis now. As the time ticked on the arrest warrant of suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Seoul early on Monday for talks with several government officials, including acting President Choi Sang-mok. Blinken, who is on a three-nation visit to South Korea, Japan and France, will meet his counterpart Cho Tae-yul later on Monday. Blinken will also meet with senior South Korean government officials to reaffirm the US-South Korea alliance. Blinken will later hold a joint news conference with Foreign Minister Cho Tae-yul, who is not under threat of impeachment. Meanwhile, South Korean investigators trying to arrest suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol have asked for an extension to the warrant that expires on Monday, with the embattled leader holed up in his residence surrounded by supporters. Investigators from the Corruption Investigation Office said they will ask for an extension to a warrant due to expire at the end of Monday. Deputy Director of the Corruption Investigation Office in a press briefing said that the agency had asked for police's help to detain Yoon because of the difficulties investigators had faced and would consult them on the timing of the warrant extension. Police have yet to accept the request. The impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol has defiantly refused questioning 3 times before a failed arrest attempt saw hundreds of his protective guards block investigators trying to detain him over a bungled martial law decree last month. So, under the fog of dawn, dozens of Yoon's lawmakers from the People's Power Party turned up in front of his presidential residence and It's been days that Yoon Suk-yeol, the impeached president, has been defying this arrest by investigators. Well, police moved to block roads in anticipation of another day of protests, as dozens for and against Yoon from the previous day braved sub-zero conditions after camping out overnight. So you can see on your screens, police in anticipation of another day of unrest guarding the presidential compound in Seoul. And it is also a day when US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is also in Seoul for talks with South Korean officials, including acting President Choi Song-mok, to be able to help the country out of crisis. And DD India's Anil Thomas now joins us from New Delhi on the story. Anil, South Korean investigators say they will seek an extension of arrest warrant for Yoon. So how much of a chances do they have today?
Well, good morning, Tanvi. Well, it first of all shows, especially, it's a deadlock that we have seen so far. And I don't see the timeline that the arrest warrant has, which has got a validity of a week, is still 8:30 p.m. tonight. And I think the lockdown that's been faced time and again don't seem to be making any headway. I think we've seen precedents before where lawmakers' arrest warrants have been issued in 2000, 2004, which have lapsed and which have not been fulfilled. And I think this particular logjam that we are seeing currently, on Friday we did see the chief investigating officers and their team, trying to enter the presidential palace, trying to get stock of the things. But I think that's where they've run into legal obstacles. And I think legal speed breakers is something that Yoon is backing on. And I think he's got his full battery of lawyers there to bail him out of this current situation. And I think you don't see much of headway being made, especially with regards to how the situation is. You've got less than 12 hours left for the arrest warrant to lapse. And I think it could see a slow and silent death, this particular arrest warrant, because Yoon has got his fortress well guarded, at least for the time being.
Okay. And US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Seoul early on Monday for talks with the South Korean leadership. Do you think he can help leverage the country out of crisis?
Not exactly. Antony Blinken's final trip as Secretary of State, especially when it comes to visiting the Asian continent, followed after this visit, he's got a visit to Japan that followed. I think in terms of economic, purely in terms of international or foreign and political South Korean something that looking forward to. I think the policy, especially when it comes to not interfering in the policies of internal conflicts in any country, and I think this would hold good to here too. It's understood that Yoon has close ties with the Biden administration. He's considered to be pretty close to the Biden administration. But having said that, Trump is just a fortnight away from taking over, and Yoon could or could not, face the same kind of support from the Trump administration had he did the Biden administration. So it's a tightrope walking that Biden needs to do. I think Biden would stick to more economic, more bilateral relations than look at, getting himself involved, especially, in the internal conflict that South Korea currently faces and the crisis that is unfolding.
Okay. Thank you very much, Anil Thomas, reporting on the story. Now, updates on the Jeju plane crash. South Korea's government has decided to extend the shutdown of the Muan International Airport, where a Jeju Air passenger jet had crashed to January 14th. South Korean police raided the offices of Jeju Air and the operator of Muan International Airport on January 2nd as they step up their probe into the fatal crash of a Boeing 737-800 that killed 179 people. On to the US now. President Joe Biden signed a measure into law on Sunday that boosts Social Security retirement payments to some retirees who draw public pensions, such as former police officers and firefighters. The Senate voted last month to approve the Social Security Fairness Act, which would repeal 2-decade-old provisions that can reduce benefits for people who also receive a pension. The House of Representatives had approved it earlier. The law overturns a decades-old change to the popular retirement program that had been made to limit federal benefits to some higher earning workers with pensions. Over time, growing numbers of employees such as postal workers also saw their payments capped. Speaking to reporters at the White House after he signed the Social Security Fairness Act, Biden said the transition to Trump's government seemed to be going smoothly.
As the first president in more than 20 years to expand Social Security benefits, this victory is a culmination of a four-year fight to provide security for workers who dedicate their lives to their communities. And I'm proud to have played a small part in this fight and get to sign it.
President Joe Biden also implored new Democratic members of Congress to tell the truth about the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol and not let the history of what happened be rewritten or even erased. DD India's Shubhendu Ghosh now joins us on the story. Shubhendu, first of all, tell us, what does this Social Security Fairness Act entail and who will it impact the most?
Good morning, Tanvi. That's right. Social Security Act, which leads to the expansion of Social Security benefits in terms of pensions for a number of federal workers, is an important step just ahead of Joe Biden completing his term as president. What it does, in Joe Biden's word, the bite that we played, in about 20 years, 2 decades, this is the most important expansion of these acts. There were some restrictive measures that had come into place, if I can tell them about those measures. Windfall elimination provision and government pension offset. These were the ways in which the pensions given to these federal workers, and these include an array of workers who serve in different positions, from school teachers to firefighters to police officers and other positions. Their pensions were restricted. Now, given the challenging economic times, this expansion enables them to now access higher pension, about $360 per month higher pension is going to be received by most of the average federal workers, the list that I just shared with you. Also, overall, about thousands of dollars of pensions as lump sum, as arrear payment, will be provided. Some 3 million federal workers are said to benefit from it. President Joe Biden said that this is part of the agenda of his government to ensure that the benefits of America's progress reaches every section of the society, particularly the middle class, people who serve all their lives, give their lives to important positions, important roles in the American society, must be able to retire, must be able to lead an economically secure and safe life. And in that sense, this measure is an important one. We know that in an entrepreneurship and capitalist-centric America, concerns and reforms like Social Security benefits are seen with great interest. In that sense, an important step forward for an array of federal workers in America. The middle class, in particular, is said to benefit significantly. And President Joe Biden also spoke about the manner in which he himself comes from that context. And this was his way as president, finally an important giving back to the American society. Tanvi?
Indeed. President Joe Biden implored new Democratic members of Congress to tell the truth about the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol and not let the history of what happened be rewritten or even erased. Shubhendu, request you to stay with us as we listen to Joe Biden here.
Gather to certify the results of a free and fair presidential election and ensure a peaceful transfer of power. It's a day that most of our history we took for granted the 6th, but I hope we never take it for granted again. 4 years ago, January 6th, this Capitol was attacked by a violent mob. Never forget them. They're guarding you. Give them the respect and support they deserve, but it's also due to the members of the House and Senate who, even in the face of these threats, in the threats of their life, courageously fulfilled their duty to the Constitution. They showed up and did the work.
Okay, Shubhendu, so this has been like one of the final speeches of President Joe Biden, perhaps before he gives away to Donald Trump. And he said it there that it has been a peaceful process of transition going on there. What do you think have been the highlights of President's speech here?
That's right, Tanvi. What we were listening to is an excerpt of President Joe Biden's, one of his final speeches as president, really. He was participating in a special reception for the new Democratic members after the elections that had happened. Remember, it's a moment of transition for U.S. Politics. As you mentioned, President-elect Donald Trump would be taking charge in about a fortnight from now. But January 6th is an important date. 4 years ago, when it was Joe Biden who had won and Donald Trump who had lost, we saw the dramatic way in which there was an attempt for insurrection. The capital, U.S. Capitol, was attacked. It was January 6th when the new president was to be declared. The name was to be confirmed and declared. That is when that violence and insurrection took place. And taking cue from that, in reference to that, President Joe Biden also highlighting what he, his party, and American Constitution represents in all its glory. He said that we're ensuring that a peaceful transfer of power takes place, even though we've lost the election. And that is of great value. That, he said, is the highlight, really, of American political system and a constitution, reference to the manner in which his opponent did not engage in a similar peaceful transfer of power, but his party is. So in that sense, a bit of a satire and irony also on the manner things are different as far as the transition of the American government is concerned as compared to what had happened 4 years ago. Also in his speech, as I mentioned, is one of his final speeches. He began by talking about his own experience and legacy as the youngest member of the US Congress. He spoke about his experience, his personal loss, when he lost members of his family, what it meant for him to carry on with public service. He also spoke about the key values of freedom and unity and equality and liberty that America represents. Particularly, America's role in foreign affairs was something that was of great emphasis, given that there are great divergences in the manner in which his successor looks at America's policy. So, all in all, we see Joe Biden really summing up his legacy and imploring the new members of the U.S. Congress to take forward the Democrat legacy.
Yeah, we leave it here. Thank you very much, Shubhendu Ghosh, for all those inputs. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky again expresses hope that Donald Trump will be able to force Russia into peace talks. Jorge Rodriguez elected as Venezuelan president for the 5th consecutive year. And New York rules out new congestion pricing toll for drivers. Drivers to pay $9 during peak hours.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Tanvi Taneja. On to Europe now. The new leader of Austria's Conservatives said that they are ready to enter into negotiations with the far-right Freedom Party to form a new government after coalition talks with the Social Democrats and Liberals broke down. At a leadership meeting of the Conservatives on Sunday, Christian Stocker was chosen as interim party leader. Stocker said he had been authorized by his party to enter into coalition talks with the far-right if invited to do so.
Welcome the federal president's decision to meet the leader of the party with the most votes in Hofburg and to have a discussion because, as our federal chancellor has emphasized several times in the past, I also expect that the chairman of the party with the most votes will be entrusted with the formation of a future federal government. If we are invited to these talks, then we will accept the invitation.
Mit der Bildung einer zukünftigen
Conservative Chancellor Karl Nehammer on Saturday broke off talks to form a government without the FPO. Nehammer stepped down on Saturday in the wake of the collapse. Nehammer said he would step down as Chancellor and party chairman of the People's Party in the coming days to enable an orderly transition. He has held both posts since late 2021. Meanwhile, Austrian President Alexander von der Bellen has announced that he would meet with far-right Freedom Party FPO leader Herbert Kickl on Monday after efforts to form a coalition without the FPO collapsed and Conservative Chancellor Karl Nehammer resigned. He stated that voices within the Conservative People's Party, which had previously ruled out cooperation with an FPO under Herbert Kickl, have become much quieter. This in turn suggests that a new path may be opening up that did not exist earlier. And next, updates from the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russia on Sunday said that Ukraine had launched a counter-attack in the western border region of Kursk, where Kiev's forces began a shock ground offensive last August. The assault comes at a critical juncture in the nearly three-year conflict, with both sides seeking to strengthen their negotiating hand ahead of US President-elect Donald Trump's return to the White House on January 20th. The Ukrainian army did not comment on the operation, simply saying in its daily report that fighting was underway in Kursk region without elaborating. As per Moscow, Ukraine used 2 tanks, a dozen armored vehicles and a demolition unit in the assault, which was directed towards the village of Berdin. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed optimism in an interview published on Sunday that strong incoming US President Donald Trump will be able to force Russia into peace talks and end the war in Ukraine. In a 3-hour discussion with US podcaster Lex Fridman, Zelensky said that the Republican president-elect will be vital to guaranteeing Ukraine's security, opening the way for a negotiated settlement also backed by European nations. Meanwhile, in the same podcast, the Ukrainian president added that security guarantees for Kiev to end Russia's war would only be effective if the United States provides them, and he hoped to meet US President-elect Donald Trump soon after his inauguration. Jorge Rodriguez was re-elected as president of Venezuela's National Assembly on Sunday during the opening session of the 2025 legislative period. This is the 5th consecutive year that Rodriguez will lead the Chavista Majority Assembly. In his swearing-in ceremony, Rodriguez vowed to defeat extremism and those who threaten the right to live free, sovereign and independent forever. Current Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro is expected to be sworn in once again as president for the 2025 to 2030 term before the Venezuelan National Assembly on January 10th. New York City's new congestion pricing toll for drivers entering the center of Manhattan began on Sunday. Drivers will now pay $9 to access the busiest part of the city during peak hours. The toll, a first of its kind in the United States, aims to reduce gridlock in the densely packed area while raising funds to improve the city's struggling public transit system. Jano Lieber, CEO of the Metropolitan Transit Authority, confirmed that the system has been operational since midnight. Lieber emphasized the project's goal of saving time for commuters. Lieber also addressed the need to work with Donald Trump, who has opposed congestion pricing. The program survived multiple lawsuits aimed at blocking it, including a last-ditch effort by the state of New Jersey to obtain a temporary injunction. On to weather updates now. A winter storm swept across a dozen states in the United States on Sunday, blanketing vast regions with snow, coating roads in ice and plunging temperatures to freezing levels. The storm caused travel and work disruptions from Kansas City to Washington as it advanced eastwards. Transportation workers in Kansas City, Missouri, worked to clear snow-covered roads for streetcars. The National Weather Service issued winter storm warnings for around a dozen states from Kansas to New Jersey, bringing the threat of blizzards, heavy snow, treacherous ice and freezing rain through Monday. It had predicted 4 to to 8 inches of snowfall in the Kansas City with limited visibility and winds of up to 40 miles per hour. More than 60 million people across the US were under weather alerts, with nearly 2,200 flights cancelled and over 25,000 flights delayed. A state of emergency has been declared in Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia, Kansas, Arkansas and Missouri. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear urged residents to stay home after multiple vehicle crashes forced the closure of a major highway. Cincinnati, Ohio was hit hard by storm, transforming into a snow-covered landscape. The National Weather Service in Wilmington said snowfall in Cincinnati is expected to accumulate between 7 and 10 inches before tapering off Monday night. The storm will move offshore by Monday night with bone-chilling Arctic air behind it. The daytime temperatures on Monday and Tuesday are predicted to be 10 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit below average from the Great Plains to the East Coast. Now, while the heavy snowfall caused an avalanche in Utah, the dramatic visuals captured the cascading avalanche down the snow-covered mountain. The scene was viewed from inside a car parked on a remote icy mountain road. As per local media, up to 5 inches of snow per hour fell around Little Cottonwood Canyon area, sparking the avalanche and briefly stranding skiers. Ireland is also experiencing a significant snowfall, particularly affecting the southern regions. Heavy snow left a white sheet over southern parts of Ireland on Sunday, following heavy snowfall overnight and through the day. The southern Irish town of Cashel saw the iconic landmark, the Rock of Cashel, blanketed in snow, with the surrounding countryside also covered in a thick layer. Snowfall also affected other parts of the British Isles, with significant accumulations in Scotland, England and Wales. Earlier on Friday, Britain's Met Office had issued an amber warning for snow and ice in parts of England and Wales over the weekend. And in some entertainment news now, Hollywood's best and brightest from film and television arrived at the Beverly Hills in California for the Golden Globes. Hollywood's awards season heats up at the Golden Globes with surreal narco-thriller musical Emilia Perez about a Mexican drug lord who transitions to life as a woman leading the charge. Narco-thriller musical Emilia Perez has won its first Golden Globe, with Zoe Saldana taking the award for Best Supporting Actress. Jacques Audiard's genre-defying film earned 10 nominations, the most ever for a musical comedy film, including for star transgender actress Carla Sofia Gascon, who plays the title character, as well as co-stars Selena Gomez and Zoe Saldana. So, India's Payal Kapadia has missed out on the Best Director win, but shines with a historic nomination for All We Imagine as Light. And for more on this, we are joined now by Deepika Meheto on the phone line. Deepika, it's a tough loss there for Payal Kapadia and All We Imagine as Light.
Good morning, Tanvi. Payal Kapadia's All We Imagine as Light has lost for the best non-feature film in non-English category. However, it is still in the race in the Best Director category, because the awards, the second lot of the award will be announced later in the day, and we would be having a final confirmation if she is winning the Best Director film. She's lost on the Best Non-Feature Film, which is a heartbreak for many Indians, because All We Imagine as Light couldn't even make it to the Oscars this year. But if we look at All We Imagine as Light's glory throughout the year, straight from the Cannes Film Festival, where she won the Grand Prix for the first time, and even if we look at her nominations, which happened after almost decades, when we look at this category, category, in both the categories rather. And even if she happens to win the Best Director category, that would also be historic in itself, because All We Imagine as Light is an Indo-French collaboration which has been showcased and making headlines and showing India's cinematic progress also. All We Imagine as Light has gained a special momentum and recognition at Cannes Film Festival. It has gained a special recognition at the International Film Festival of India in Goa as well. And if we speak about the 82nd Golden Globe Awards as well, it is gaining recognition and creating new headlines. And we are just hopeful that she is able to win this Best Director category award, because we would be having a confirmation soon on that. And if she wins, that would be really historical, and it would be again showing India's cinematic progress, Tanvi.
Indeed, Payal Kapadia being a woman, showing on the lives of 3 women in the film. If she wins it, like you mentioned, we'll have a confirmation in another few minutes. If she wins it, how historic will it be for women filmmakers back home in India?
See, women filmmaker is one topic which has been emphasized all throughout, especially by India. And when we talk about India's cinematic progress and prowess, if you would remember the 55th edition of International Film Festival of India, it had a different category for women in cinema, for filmmakers in cinema, especially with a special emphasis on women as well. And that has been the message all throughout. If we talk about international awards also, and Indian women especially gaining recognition for that. Payal Kapadia is herself a woman, depicting story of 2 women, and the movie is also revolving around 3 women, the main protagonist along with Chaya Kadam. So this is how it is, showcasing Indian women's prowess and showcasing the progress that Indian women are making. Whatever happens, if we win or if we don't win, whatever happens, the result comes out. But the only fact that Payal Kapadia is making headlines all across, all throughout the year from 2024 to 2025, gaining so many awards already and having so many historic nominations means a lot, and showcases how India is progressing and changing the cinematic landscape, breaking all the gender barriers.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Deepika Mehto, for reporting on the story. Still to come on DD India News Hour. US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is in New Delhi on a 2-day visit to hold talks on bilateral, regional and global issues. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate key railway projects boosting connectivity in Jammu and Kashmir, Telangana and Eastern India. And we also bring you news on Uti's tribal community celebrating its traditional New Year festival today.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Tanvi Taneja. US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is in New Delhi on a 2-day visit. According to the White House, the US NSA will hold talks with his counterpart, Ajit Doval, in New Delhi. The discussions are likely to cover a wide range of bilateral, regional and global issues, along with finalizing the ongoing initiatives as the Joe Biden administration concludes its tenure. During his visit, Jake Sullivan is also expected to meet India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. Today, he will visit the Indian Institute of Technology, New Delhi, where he will meet with young Indian entrepreneurs and deliver remarks on the United States and India building a shared future. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of various railway projects on Monday through a video link. In a significant move to further boost connectivity in Jammu and Kashmir, Prime Minister Modi will inaugurate the new Jammu Railway Division. Prime Minister Modi will also inaugurate the Charlapalli New Terminal Station in Telangana. Along with this, he will lay the foundation stone of Raigad Railway Division building of East Coast Railway to improve connectivity in Odisha, Andhra Pradesh and nearby areas. This will all lead to overall socio-economic development of the region. National capital of India, Delhi, logged dense fog for a fifth consecutive day on Monday for over 3 hours between 4 in the morning to 7:30 in the morning, impacting flight and train operations. The India Meteorological Department has forecast light rain in the early hours of Monday, issuing a yellow alert due to a fresh western disturbance. The weather phenomena is expected to bring more snowfall to the mountains and subsequently lead to a drop in temperature across North India from January the 8th. In Himachal Pradesh, heavy rainfall or snowfall is very likely at isolated places, while in Jammu and Kashmir, Sunday evening witnessed light snowfall in plains as well, including in summer capital Srinagar. IMD forecasts heavy snowfall for Monday and Tuesday. The changing weather conditions led to dense fog conditions in isolated pockets of Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, West Bengal and Sikkim, Bihar, Jharkhand, Assam and Meghalaya and Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura in the night or morning hours. Further, squally wind with the wind speed of 45 km per hour to 55 km per hour, gusting to 65 kmph, very likely to prevail along and off Somalia coast and adjoining southwest Arabian Sea. Fishermen are advised not to venture into sea in these areas. And now let's go over to our correspondents for all the weather updates. Siddharth Bhardwaj joining us from Delhi and Muskan Chaudhary joining us from Shimla. Let's go to you, Siddharth. First, we see a cover of dense fog behind you. What's the latest that you are tracking from the national capital?
Well, a very good morning to you, Tanvi. And now as I talk to you, just 30 seconds back, I can still feel some light showers, something which was predicted by weathermen. As you can see behind me as well, Tanvi, all you can see is fog and some buildings as well. As Delhi woke up to a foggy morning this time around, that temperature is maximum and minimum temperatures will likely to go between 18 degrees Celsius to 11.4 degrees Celsius. And like I was just saying, that light to moderate rainfall is also predicted by the weatherman. As I talk to you, I can still feel the raindrops on my hand, something which was already predicted. However, this biting cold has impacted some flight operations and train operations as well. But we are also getting the report that the runway visibility, Tanvi, is somewhere around 1,000 to 2,000 meters, which is actually okay to take off a flight. But yeah, we had a word with some people here, also some office goers, they say that we are bearing the brunt of the cold with the smiles on our faces because this is January and they're enjoying the weather. But on the other hand, Tanvi, some people had to take refuge also in night shelters because of the biting cold in the Delhi. Not just in Delhi, Tanvi, some light to moderate showers are also expected in parts of Haryana as well. So all in all, the maximum and minimum temperatures will likely to go around 18 degrees Celsius to 11.4 degrees Celsius. And now as I'm standing in the central part of Delhi, I can still feel the chill in the air along with light showers. So definitely there's one thing for sure, that some extra covers are likely to come up, some extra jackets along with some colorful umbrellas as well in Delhi. Back to you, Tanvi.
Okay, thank you, Siddharth. Muskan, is the cold as biting in Shimla? And what are you tracking as far as the weather is concerned in Himachal Pradesh?
Tanvi, the weather is going to take a turn from today onwards. However, from past 1 week, because the Himachal was experiencing a clear sky and there was rise in temperature. But from today onwards, according to the State Meteorological Department, there is an orange alert that has been issued for the higher regions of the state. And during this time, there is an orange alert for rainfall and snowfall in the 7 districts of state, which includes Shimla, Kullu, Chamba, and Lahaul Spiti, Kinnaur and Mandi. And these areas will experience snowfall till 7 January. But after 8 January, the weather will be clear. However, it is not that cold in Shimla right now, as I told you, because of the past few days, the temperature, there has been a rise in temperature. So it is not as cold as there are as the other areas of Himachal which are facing a cold wave right now. But it is a bit cold than yesterday. And on Sunday night, due to the western disturbance, today it will take a turn in the few of the states. a few of the district, I mean, sorry.
Okay, and if you could talk a little bit about the tourist footfall in Shimla. We are still in the New Year festivities. Is it high as far as the weather is concerned? Are tourists enjoying the weather there?
Definitely, Tanvi. The tourists are very excited to be here in Shimla, although they were expecting snowfall, but they are a bit sad on that part that they are not able to see snowfall right now. But they are very happy that they are here in Shimla and weather is very good as compared to the other states of the country right now. And they are very excited to be here and they are enjoying the beautiful landscape of Himachal. And if I talk about tourism, the tourism department is also encouraging tourists to come to Himachal, and they have also given a discount for tourists, especially till 15 April, so that more tourists can come and they can enjoy the beautiful landscape of state without any problems.
Okay, thank you very much, Muskan Chaudhary from Shimla and Siddharth Bhardwaj joining us from New Delhi on reporting on the weather in North India. All right, thousands of devotees across the world celebrate the 358th birth anniversary of Guru Gobind Singh, the 10th Sikh Guru and one of the most revered leaders of Sikhism. Guru Gobind Singh Ji was a spiritual visionary whose teachings and actions underscore the importance of unity, tolerance and respect for diversity, values that resonate deeply in today's world. This auspicious day is observed with prayers, kirtans and teachings that honour his life and legacy. Sikh communities worldwide come together to celebrate his unwavering commitment to equality, courage and devotion to humanity. And updates now on the Mahakumbh Mela, the sacred congregation to be held in North India's Prayagraj. With the deployment of thousands of AI-powered CCTVs, underwater drones and state-of-the-art facilities for visitors and devotees, the state government and administration are ready for the Grand Mela. The AI-powered Lost and Found Centre will help lost pilgrims reconnect with their families and friends. In view of the safety of the devotees in Mahakumbh, a large number of Jal Police, that's water police personnel, have been deployed in the Ganga and Yamuna rivers. These personnel have also been equipped with advanced equipment like underwater drones and sonar systems. 4 water ambulances will be ready for emergency situations and are capable of providing immediate relief. These Jal Police has so far deployed 2,500 personnel for the security of devotees. Ganga Aarti was performed by women at Sangam on Sunday. This was captured through stunning drone visuals. The Mahakumbh Mela is the world's largest public gathering and collective act of faith. The Mahakumbh is being celebrated after 12 years and a huge turnout of devotees is expected in Prayagraj from January 13th to February 26th. And next we take a look at other stories making news in India. The Indian Railways marked a significant milestone as the first electric locomotive crossed the Anji Khat cable bridge in Jammu Kashmir's Riyasi district. The event symbolizes progress in the ambitious Udhampur-Srinagar-Baramulla railway link project aimed at seamlessly connecting the Union Territory to the rest of India through a dedicated broad-gauge railway line. The Toda tribal community in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu celebrated the traditional New Year festival today. Members of the community offered special prayers and performed the traditional dance on the occasion of this festival in Ooty. You're with us on DD India News are still to come on the show. Egypt to receive $1.2 billion disbursement from the International Monetary Fund as part of its program. Third consecutive French Super Cup title for Paris Saint-Germain. And China's ice city of Harbin kicks off a record-breaking ice and snow festival with fireworks, stunning sculptures and thrilling ice slides.
Welcome to Jaipur.
Thanks for staying with us. You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Tanvi Taneja. On to some business news. Egypt is expected to receive a $1.2 billion disbursement from the International Monetary Fund IMF this month as part of an $8 billion program with the international lender. Last month, the IMF said it reached a staff-level agreement with Egypt on the fourth review of the 46-month extended fund facility arrangement, potentially unlocking the $1.2 billion disbursement, while it is targeting about $3 billion in the remainder of the current fiscal year. Egypt, grappling with high inflation and shortages of foreign currency, agreed to the expanded IMF program in March. A sharp decline in Suez Canal revenue caused by regional tensions over the last year compounded its economic woes. South Korean shares opened slightly up on Monday as the country's finance minister, who was recently appointed as acting president, remained committed to stabilizing the country's financial markets. The benchmark Kospi was up 8.64 points as of 0051 GMT. The acting president, Choi Sang-mok, has ordered financial agencies to deploy market stabilizing measures swiftly and boldly if volatility heightens, and said that he would continue to hold financial lenders meetings every week to review market conditions. Impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol's short-lived declaration of martial law last month sent South Korea's markets into chaos. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for some sporting action. On to football. Manchester United rallied to snap a 4-game losing streak and halt Liverpool's romp towards the Premier League title in a thrilling 2-2 draw at Anfield on Sunday. It looked as though Ruben Amorim's United would go home empty-handed despite a vastly improved display, but Amad Diallo struck a late equaliser in the 80th minute to earn his side a point. After Diallo's leveller had both sides chances to win in a frantic finale. Liverpool now have 46 points after 19 games, 6 more than Arsenal, while United moved up a place to 13th with 23 points. Paris Saint-Germain lifted up the French Super Cup trophy on Sunday for the third consecutive season, defeating AS Monaco 1-0 in the title clash. A stoppage time goal by forward Ousmane Dembele helped PSG edge out AS Monaco in a thrilling clash. PSG had 27 chances, 9 of them on target, without breaking the deadlock before Fabian Ruiz sent a neat pass across the face of the goal for Dembele to net inside the far post. PSG faced last season's League One runners-up Monaco after the Parisians had won both the league and the French Cup. And on to cricket now. South Africa enforced the follow-on after they bowled out Pakistan for 194 runs to take a first innings lead of 421 runs on the third day of the second test at Newlands on Sunday. Pakistan collapsed after a fourth wicket partnership of 98 between Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan. Pakistan were without injured opening batsman Saim Ayub, and 3 was mimical resistant, and there was mimical resistance from the rest of the batsmen. However, in the second innings, Pakistan started strongly. Openers Shan Masood slammed a century and added over 200 runs with Babar Azam for the opening wicket. Babar Azam was dismissed for 81. Pakistan were 203 runs for the loss of 1 wicket at stumps, still trailing by 208 runs. In tennis, the United States of America lifted the United Cup title after beating Poland 2-0 in the final on Sunday. Both Coco Gauff and Taylor Fritz emerged victorious in their singles matches. Fritz defeated Hubert Hurkacz after Coco Gauff outclassed Iga Swiatek in Sydney. Gauff eased past Swiatek with a scoreline of 6-4, 6-4, while Fritz had to work hard against his opponent in a tightly contested encounter. With this triumph, the USA has claimed its second United Cup title in 3 years. And on to Hockey India League now. The Tamil Nadu Dragons notched up a 2-0 win over the UP Rudras at the Birsa Munda Hockey Stadium in Rourkela on Sunday. The players Anurag Sudev and Thomas Sosby found the net for the Dragons, who climb up to the 3rd spot in the points table after this win. After 2 draws and 1 penalty shootout victory, this was the Dragons' first outright win of the league. The Rudras, meanwhile, suffered their first defeat of the season. As the Border Gavaskar Trophy series came to an end, with Australia lifting the trophy after more than a decade at the iconic Sydney Cricket Ground, our next report delves into the key performances and achievements of Indian players in this series.
The Border Gavaskar Trophy has long been a stage for enthralling cricketing battles between India and Australia, and the recently concluded series in Australia was no exception. Indian batters and bowlers made headlines by setting remarkable records. From stunning centuries to game-changing spells with the ball, the players etched their names in history. Let's take a look at the key performances and achievements of the series. Jasprit Bumrah etched his name in history books, taking the most wickets by an Indian bowler in a test series. Bumrah has become the fastest Indian pacer to reach the landmark of 200 wickets in test cricket. No one in test cricket history has reached the milestone with a better average than Bumrah, whose average stands at 19.56. In the latest ICC Test rankings, Bumrah remained at the top of the bowlers list. Bumrah also recorded the highest ever rating points of 907 by an Indian bowler, surpassing Ravichandran Ashwin. Nitish became the 3rd youngest batsman to score 100 on Australian soil. Yashasvi Jaiswal emerged as top scorer for India at the Border Gavaskar Trophy with 391 runs. Jaiswal showcased his brilliance with a century of 161 in Perth and added 2 half-centuries. With an average of 43.44, Jaiswal became only player along with Travis Head to average over 40 in this series. Jaiswal also grabbed the number 4 spot in the ICC rankings chart, only Indian in top 10. Rishabh Pant smashed the 2nd fastest test 50 by an Indian during the 5th test. Pant reached his half-century of 29 deliveries with the help of 6 fours and 3 sixes. Virat Kohli scored his 81st test century at Perth of 143 deliveries in first test. Virat Kohli breaks the long wait for an elusive 30th century in test cricket. The recently concluded Border Gavaskar Trophy will be remembered for many reasons in Indian cricket. Players rose to the occasion and displayed extraordinary skill, but failed to retain the trophy. As the dust settles on this iconic series, Indian team will take valuable lessons from this series for future contests. Faiz Khan's report for DD India.
And now, as we end this edition of DD India News Hour, let's take you to China's ice city of Harbin, where the annual Ice and Snow Festival opened on Sunday with fireworks, colourful and shimmering ice castles and sculptures, and thrilling super ice slides. Fireworks lit up the frozen wonderland with massive ice sculptures. Take a look. So that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And for those on the go, you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.